Hey, thank you so much for clicking on today's video. My name is Solomon SK for Coffee and RPGs, and I cover the latest news and trends in the MMO and RPG genre. With that being said, if you guys got your coffee or beverage of choice, let's go over those updates together. Cheers to you guys. And before we begin, I just wanted to let you know, especially for all you action RPG fans out there, that Torchlight 2 will be free on the Epic Game Store with the next two games revealed. And if you are curious about the next two games, it will be Tacoma and Next Up Hero. And since we are already on Altchar anyways, let's go ahead and cover some of the articles that I found that were worth mentioning. First, starting off, Baldur's Gate 3 dev unveils overhauled combat and stealth mechanics. Larian Studios have been pretty quiet since the gameplay stream of Baldur's Gate 3, and now we know why. They completely overhauled the order of combat so that it will be faster and more responsive. Now, the studio isn't yet ready to commit to a launch date, but it does go on to read that Baldur's Gate 3's combat is now set so that each combatant takes a turn at a time, but there's a twist. If multiple combatants of the same faction follow one another in the turn order, then you can simultaneously command each of them. What this means for Baldur's Gate 3 is that based on the results of the initiative roll, each combat scenario will feel a unique tactical puzzle unfolding while still leaving players time to react. Players will find that Baldur's Gate 3's verticality and the ability to shove enemies leads itself well to stealth play. Sneaking around is an excellent way to gain advantages prior to combat, even more so with the introduction of the forced turn-based mode. So as you can see here, there's a list of various lighting conditions that will give you the advantage when using stealth play. Baldur's Gate 3 uses the above conditions to determine whether enemies can see you, but you can further manipulate lighting using spells or even splashing a torch with water. Next, Destiny 2 Beyond Light expansion release date has been postponed. Bungie decided to postpone Destiny's 2 next expansion to November 10th, 2020, making the wait a bit longer by roughly a month and a half. Considering the working circumstances, it seems to be for the best. And when it says for the working circumstances, it's again the whole global thing that I still will not mention. Next, we'll go ahead and turn on over to PCGamer.com. First article, No Man's Sky takes a terrifying new turn in its Desolation update. And the writer of this article is saying that the update definitely gives off Alien Isolation vibes, and that's not necessarily a bad thing if you're into that kind of stuff. But it does go on to read that the Desolation update adds abandoned space freighters to the game that players are free to explore at their own peril. Players will have to carefully navigate through procedurally generated environments in search of salvageable resources and upgrades for your ship. Next, turn-based tactical RPG Fate Tactics launches on July 31st, and judging from watching the trailers, it's a charming little RPG. I really like the aesthetics. I really like the retro look. I'm very curious about this game now. But it does go on to read that Fate Tactics is a turn-based tactics RPG that pays homage to games like Final Fantasy Tactics, and the Steam listing hints a little bit of Pokemon vibes too, saying that players will, quote, battle all kinds of fake creatures and collect them into your team, end quote, along their adventures. And if you are curious, they do have their own Steam page, which I will have a link to down in the pinned comment section below. Tags include RPG, strategy, turn-based tactics, pixel graphics, as well as indie fantasy isometric as well. And in their next article, Remnant from the Ashes final DLC gets a new trailer, releases next month. And this new DLC is titled Subject 2923, and the expansion introduces two major new biomes for players to explore, alongside a new campaign story that traces the origins of Remnant's strange world. Subject 2923 is Remnant's largest expansion, adding 46 hours depending on the player's skill and inclinations, as well as new weapons, upgrades, armor sets, and trinkets. And lastly, from PCGamer.com, Assassin's Creed Valhalla has Mortal Kombat-style X-ray attacks. And it goes on to read that near the end of the July 12th gameplay overview trailer, we see Elivor assassinating somebody by kicking them to the ground and plunging her hidden blade into their chest. Though it looked like a cinematic touch made for the trailer, it's actually a feature you'll be able to trigger yourself. The only other game, or popular game that I should say, that did this pretty well was Sniper Elite, and it had some pretty gruesome kill cinematics, and so I'm kind of curious where they're going to go with this, but it definitely adds a sense of brutality to the game, that's for sure. Next, we'll head on over to Gematsu.com. First article here, Pirate Action RPG King of Seas announced for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and the PC. So again, they will be releasing this game for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and the PC, which will actually launch this fall. Also, naval routes might change, meaning you will need to look for new ways to conquer settlements, or adverse weather conditions might require new, more dangerous routes to be navigated when headed to islands to trade goods or upgrade your ships. Now, to kind of go off on a little bit of a tangent, the game actually does look pretty beautiful, but it also uses that sort of cartoony cel shade aesthetic or vibes, if you will. And we are talking about pirates here, and I think it's probably due to the fact that it's been, I don't know, Disneyfied, if that's a word. It's a word now, I'm making it up. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. And again, you could definitely head on over to their Steam page for more information. And what's really interesting is that they have roguelike as part of their tags down here, as well as action RPG, naval combat, open world sailing, and a bunch of other stuff that I'm very curious about. And really quick, Rogue Legacy 2 Early Access has been delayed to August 18th. And it will be available for the PC via Steam and Epic Games Store. So this next game definitely sparked my interest and curiosity. Admittedly, it's very grim, it's a very dark looking game, but at the same time it uses very bright and vibrant colors as well at certain parts of the game. So there's a artistic conundrum, I guess you could say, that's very interesting. But anyways, it goes on to read that action RPG Gripper announced for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and the PC. And if you're getting it for the PC, it will be through the Steam platform, and it will launch in 2021. But a demo titled Gripper Prologue will launch for the PC via Steam on August 6th. And here's another interesting reason why I'm curious about this game. Gripper is an action RPG on wheels, and I think if you go on over to their Steam page, you can see that they actually try to use the tag CRPG here, and I'm assuming that's for car RPG. So I guess you could add more subgenres to the RPG genre, if you will. But unfortunately, I think this tag is used for Chinese RPG, and as far as I can tell, this company isn't Chinese. I think they're from Russia or some other Eastern European country, as far as I can tell. And lastly, from Gematsu.com, and for all you RPG makers out there or aspiring to be one, RPG Maker MZ launches on August 20th, and it will be for the Steam platform for just $80. Next, we'll go ahead and cover some of the articles from MMORPG.com. And the first one here, Elder Scrolls Online giving away free Crown Store bundle until July 30th. This 100% free Crown Store bundle will have repair kits, soul gems, outfits, and more, showing that ZeniMax appreciates their community and everything that they do, not just to keep the game alive, but for each other. And luckily, this bundle is available for all players, no matter if you are a subscriber to ESO Plus or not. Next, Albion Online celebrates 3rd anniversary with special events and rewards. Players who log in during the celebration week ending on July 24th will earn a 25% fame boost and free fireworks. There will also be a Strike a Pose contest held at the official forums as well. And for more information, you could definitely head on to albiononline.com, where it includes much more information, including a revisiting of the Defenders of the Past dungeon as well. Next, Final Fantasy XIV launches Reflections in a Crystal update on August 11th. Final Fantasy XIV has plans to release the once-delayed Update 5.3 in just a short few weeks on August 11th, known as Reflections in a Crystal. This update is set to include a new dungeon, a new trial, several new challenges, and more. This much-anticipated release follows along the storyline as the Scions attempt to understand Aesion's devious machinations, and I'm probably saying that wrong, so I do apologize. And in their next article, Astellia update focuses on Avalon. The update, which should release on July 28th, will introduce Avalon tokens with the, now I'm going to butcher these names, Sears, Fees, and Eos? Yeah, I can't. I'm so sorry. Those three factions having their own tokens. However, the team notes that these tokens will reset every season, therefore be sure to use them before the season concludes. And lastly, new Avalon Astellia has also been added, in addition to new Avalon weapons and armor. Next, from MMORPG.com, Population 0 patch brings several improvements to gameplay, visuals, perks, and more. The latest Population 0 patch brings with it a large content update, touching on gameplay and visuals. Technical improvements have also been introduced in the patch, specifically targeting mid-ranged PCs. NPCs are now more aggressive as well. These NPCs are called outcasts and reside in various camps. These camps will have a loot in them, so go for it and raid. The map itself received several upgrades, such as new assets. And lastly, from MMORPG.com, Wild Terra 2 shares its 2020 roadmap. The Wild Terra 2 team has provided a roadmap which outlines what they have planned for the summer, fall, winter, and throughout 2020. This summer is set to receive a host of new features and tweaks. For example, the central city of mainland is set to receive NPCs and quests. Additionally, new mainland locations will be added, including snow-capped mountains, taverns, and more. Agriculture will receive some updates as well, including the ability to grow vegetables, fruits, berries, grains, and trees, as well as flowers. The fall will see a new category skill, in addition to more mainland territories like Port City, livestock, and breeding. The fall will see a new category skill, in addition to more mainland territories like Port City. And lastly, winter will see the new witchcraft skill. The big update also looks to be one with new continents, new biomes, territories, monsters, and bosses. Next, we will go ahead and go over some of the articles from MassivelyOP.com. First up, Blessed Unleashed kicks off its summer event through August 12th, so definitely head on over if you want to get that swimsuit wear for your character. Next, Korean hybrid MOBA Hunters Arena Legends has hit early access on Steam. And admittedly, on paper, this game looks to be pretty interesting. As it says here, it is a battle royale genre game, but it also adds elements to RPGs and MOBA titles that has been blended into a brand new multiplayer experience to create a dynamic, action-packed combat encounters for up to 60 players, and it does have a $19.99 price point on Steam. Now, I'm not a huge MOBA player, nor am I a huge battle royale player, but admittedly it does spark my interest a little bit, just because they're trying, I guess, something new by blending all these genres together. But unfortunately, it does have a mixed review from their official Steam page. Fallout 76 rolls back some challenge completion due to autocomplete bugs. And it goes on to read that some of the challenges were unfortunately being listed as done when nothing had happened, and that needed to be fixed, but that also means that some players have wound up losing days of progress, probably due to no fault of their own. Fortunately, players also affected are getting a makeup chance in a form of additional daily challenges to make progress along the season reward track. There's also a bonus score event kicking off on July 23rd that should help even things out, so players will be able to both clear more challenges for a while and make more progress per challenge completed. Last but not least, the weekend will also host double experience. And that concludes today's episode of MMO and RPG News Roundup. I do appreciate it if you made it with me so far, because the watch time does help with the algorithms. I've made it a personal goal of mine to try to get 200 subscribers by the end of July. And if you feel as though I have earned your subscription, please consider hitting the subscribe button down below, as well as the bell notification button right next to it. But anyways, guys, I know we covered a lot, so I will let you guys go. Hope you guys have a blessed night, and I will see you guys next time. Cheers again, everyone.